Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a coffee talk supplemental. It's a Monday afternoon. I hope your Monday's going okay. I should be done streaming by the time this comes out. I've got my coffee though. Time travel, right? It's the morning, but you're going to see this in the afternoon. Nice afternoon cup that's happening in the morning or something. What the heck is that in the garage? What do you see there, fellas? I should have had my coaster ready, but it wasn't. What have we here? Well, it is the T22, folks. The T22. Why do I have this in the garage? And what did it cost me? Everything. It cost me everything. I had 1 million credits, folks, yesterday when this thing came out. And I may be the guy who paid the most for this, potentially. Or at least I'm in the running. I paid 100 million credits for this. That is $1,000 in credits. I think I did the math right on there. If you were to just buy them for money. Am I an idiot? It is possible. It is possible. I did say on Coffee Talk that I would spend every bit of gold. I did not do that. I spent 50,000 gold to get 20 million credits. Then I sold every single piece of equipment I had that wasn't in a tank and a few that I drug off of tanks. That got me about another 60 million, got me to 80. And then the piece de resistance. And maybe my favorite thing I did, because it really felt good, I sold every tier 10 artillery I had. I have gone off the deep end. We have lost the plot. I've lost my mind. This thing went for about 40 million, so I overpaid by twice and then some, like a giant muppet. But I really wanted to get this tank. Why? Good question. I really don't know why. I had to have it. Anyone who's watched me for any amount of time knows my opinion of the T22 fiasco, Rampage fiasco from years back. Let me start by saying I never really thought Wargaming would jump the shark and sell this thing. But clearly, like a Belarusian Fonzie at the end of his sitcom's run, there is no shark-infested pond large enough that Wargaming will not jump. I mean, that has been proven over and over. Is this the actual... This is not the last shark-infested pool. There is one more. Well, maybe there's a couple. I think the biggest one is maybe the Waffle, if somehow that comes out at some point in the near future, if not at the end of this black market. The other one is starting to sell tier 10 premiums and that kind of stuff. So, you know, there's always another line in the sand. They're very good at drawing. But this one I really, really thought that they would not sell this tainted tank. But they did. They did. And they got me. Now, I'm a community contributor. All of the stuff that I had, most of the stuff that I had built up is from being such. I had hundreds of thousands of gold until Chuck came out and I spent $1,400 worth of content on him. And another $1,000 worth of content on this. Some of that was me playing the game and grinding silver. Now, silver is an interesting thing because you can buy it, you can convert from gold, but really you can get it by playing the game. So it's not exactly, to me, a direct monetary thing. Kind of depends on how you get a hold of it. But most of my capability and ability to do things in this game is from Wargaming. Really, the big one's the Christmas boxes, and thank you to them. You know, this is not just a poke in the eye of the company. I do like the company. I love the game. I enjoy it. I like doing this. This is a lot of fun. But I do have to speak out when goofy happens. Because otherwise, I'm just a tool, and I don't get paid enough to be their tool. Some of you are thinking, well, Guido, you actually are a tool. But that's a different subject, all right? That's a completely different subject. So I spent 50,000 of their gold. I sold every piece of equipment that I had. I sold 5 of the tier 10. I believe there's only 5 tier 10 artillery. I came up with 100 million, even, Steven, with a little bit extra. You can see I have 1,700,000 in there now. So I had, I think, 101 million So I put 100 down, 100 million, cool credits, and lo and behold, I got it and overpaid by 60 million because I'm dumb. It's a pixel tank game, man. If you're not having fun, what's the point? It was fun to do that. I actually enjoyed that. So, what now? What now? Guido has the T22, the tainted tank. Let's reverse back again a little bit because we talked about the rampage mode and my feelings on it and the jumping of the shark and how I thought that they would never sell this thing again. Now that they have, the people who cheated to get it have a lot of cover. I'm going to sidebar slightly here because I have been adamant. This is a mea culpa moment, and I'm going to believe this person. I've been adamant that there's nobody, and be careful when you say things like nobody, absolutes, because they're almost always incorrect. But I have said that in the past, nobody got it on NA fair and square. I've had a chat with one of the CCs, and he will remain nameless, but he's an extremely good player, well better than me, who claimed, I almost spilled my coffee on my keyboard. That would have been about the 5th or 6th time. It takes a little drying out. The keys get a little bit sticky, and but anyway, that's what happens when you drink coffee over your keyboard. And this individual said he got it. He got it legitimately, which I poo-pooed. So I asked him the specific question that I ask most people who say they got it legitimately. And it's the specific question of, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let's define legitimately, because did you do it only solo or with your platoon with no help from anyone else on your team or the other team? Okay? If you platooned, that's baked into the game. Platoons help each other. No issue with that. If you want to hold back on damage and help your platoon mate get something done, that's not really, in my opinion, rigging. That's baked in. But if you have another platoon that you've counted in, or worse, somebody on the other team, and you're actively griefing or blocking or doing, that's collusion and that's rigging, and we've seen some of that in the game, or a lot of it. And that's largely how people got their T22. But this individual said, no, I streamed it. There was actually some employees that were watching, and people were banned who we caught cheating while we were doing it. I'm going to take it at face value. This is an extremely good player. So he's a unicorn. So perhaps he is the unicorn. And I'm going to believe him. I'm going to, stick that flag in the sand and say, okay, noted. There is one guy I am aware of on the NA server who is extremely good, who streamed a good portion of it, who claims that he did it legitimately, and I am going to believe him. Even though that I kind of just said claims, which makes me sound like being a little two-faced, I will believe him, straight up. There's the one guy. That's the mea culpa. However, howsomever, the reality is that the other 99.999%, and if there's one, there's maybe 2 or 3 others, who knows. Still, though, of the 1,500 or whatever was on the server, the vast majority cheated and colluded to get it, which then brings me to it's a tainted tank. And I thought Wargaming would simply close the book on that sordid chapter of what was, frankly, a completely mismanaged event, especially on NA. And I think probably NA is where the majority of these problems were based on the low population size. I think on RU and EU, we talked about it last week, it was more or less straight up. It was going to be much more difficult to count in, although I'm sure stuff like that was attempted there as well. That's just what gamers do. So I thought they would never, ever sell it. They would just close the book on that chapter in history, but here it is. It came. So I bought it for $100 million. Well, what's the plan? The plan... I'm going to test a theory. I'm making it public. I have an actual theory here that this is maybe the greatest counter scout tank in the game. And I'm going to do it completely free to play. So that means I'm not going to buy any equipment for it. I'm not going to put any consumables because all that costs money. And I'm going to run the cheapest ammo that you can on this baby, which is going to be a full HE loadout. Average damage of 420, which is higher than the AP in the heat. That's average, folks. Look at that. Fantastic. That's going to increase its DPM significantly. That's going to be awesome. Right there, the shell velocity is the same as the heat, so cool. Little burst radius, so I can get a little splash damage, right? Little burst radius, all that good stuff. Also, I've clothed it in what I think is the most appropriate livery that you could have for a T22 rigging machine, right? The Cheater Special. We've got the purple turret, which is fantastic, and we put a decal on the front, which you can see that this is probably a T22 ramming a light tank. So that's my plan. I'm going to take out light tanks with my awesome HE and my fantastic mobility and good armor, and we're just going to roll in there and kill light tanks. That's going to create an advantage for my team in vision, and it's going to be awesome. Plus, I put this really cool gingerbread guy, tank guy, on the back of each one. So each one of my seasons has that. And then, of course, I have Best Crew NA. Now, I'm not going to spend any money. I did say I was going to use a 50% crew to be free, total free to play, but these guys came with the tank, so we're just going to accept it. And they're starting to work on their skills, right? So at least they're 100% in the tank. That was a nice bonus to get with the tank. They came fully trained. We've clicked on our accelerate training, and then I've put what I think is probably the best skin possible for these 4 guys. And so free to play from the beginning, Counter Scout, Scout, T22 medium. Man, I really couldn't think of a better way to do this tank. I also put on the fish or cut bait little guy on the side. So we're going to fish or cut bait, and the plan is we're going to play this once a day. That's it. And we're going to attempt to see what we can do free to play with the old T22 medium. That was the most appropriate thing I could think of. We have Operation Chuck and we have Operation Counter Scout going on at the same time. So when I stream, the last tank I'll play will be the T22 medium, full HE loadout, Counter Scout, Scout Extraordinaire. This is not a YOLO into people. This is not a Lord Sheen try to gather scout things. We're going to play this thing honestly with our sweet HE loadout, because I think that's really going to dominate those scouts. And also, well, I don't know. I was going to say something, also something, but I can't remember. I did say I was going to drive it backwards, but frankly, the front armor is the best. So I think if we're going to make an honest effort to kill those scouts off and be the best scout, counter scout we can in the game, we'll go forward. Plus, it's faster, so that'll help me get to those counter scout positions earlier. And we'll just be blasting them with this sweet HE, man. I'm telling you what, I'm excited for Operation T22. I think it's the most appropriate thing you could do with a tank like this, considering its excellent history and the amazing skill of the vast majority of people who got it. We'll see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I've got. I'm going to go finish my coffee, get ready for the stream. Today will be the inaugural T22 Operation Scout Counter Scout. That's actually not true. I played it once yesterday, so it'll be the second game, but it'll be the first streamed game at the end of the stream. So check it out. All right. Finish up your coffee. Have a good, Monday? Have a good Monday. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye-bye.